everybody. Scott McNealy here, formerly famous and important when I was CEO of Sun Microsystems. Stepped down from that role about a decade ago and wondered what I was going to go do. I thought maybe I could go into politics or go run at .org. So I chose to go work for a .org instead. I think that was a good call. Anyhow, lots to cover here. I know we're all dealing with enormous number of challenges in this new world. I'm not going to go through all of those. I think everybody knows what they are in the classroom. But I thought I'd give you a little rundown of how I got to choose to be involved with a .org as my real focus in life. And it started back at Sun Microsystems a long time ago when we were open sourcing all of the key technologies that we had: operating systems, microprocessors, middleware, even application environments. And I looked at my 4 boys going through school, and we were paying $130 for a 3rd grade math textbook. It didn't change significantly, but gratuitously every year. $130 for something that they had to haul around in a suitcase and wasn't interactive, all the rest of it. And we decided to push to make OER, which wasn't even called OER back then, more available. And we created the largest library at Curriki of OER, 250,000 or so learning assets, and made it all available for free. So it was a .org, it was for free, and we got pretty excited about it. But as we move forward, and if you look at the next slide, you know, it really does kind of you see what people are dealing with here. The technology wasn't really supporting the remote learning environment, and I think remote learning is a key to learner choice. It's any place, anytime, anywhere, real-time scoring, and I think real-time scoring is kind of the holy grail to keep kids excited. And I thought, why is all of this content that we've gotten and collected at Curriki, why is it just not useful? Well, it was basically making electronic all of the in-classroom content, which required teacher support, and it required a classroom setting and somebody with a physical whiteboard there. And it just wasn't remote learning. And I think remote learning, real-time, anywhere, any place, is the way we've got to go forward. And if you look at the curriculum that's out there today, it's very fragmented in terms of its use and its platforming. The technology is not integrated, it's not federated, it doesn't have a common UI or a style guide, or and the integration and federation is just not there. It's also pretty boring. I mean, a textbook is hardly exciting, and an e-textbook isn't any more exciting. Almost all of the e-learning stuff today is lean back instead of lean forward and actually engage. So this fragmentation is bad. It's not free. A lot of it's very, very expensive, and that's sort of where we are. So last year, we started working on an authoring tool that would help people create really exciting content that uses all of the capabilities that the internet has today. And if you look at the next slide, obviously we started a little too late because we didn't realize that COVID was coming along. We didn't know that the schools were going to get shut down as quickly as they did. But we were working towards the flipped classroom. I think the flipped classroom is an improved model, but you need remote learning experiences or remote curriculum to make that happen. I think campuses should be for social interaction. That's where you want to do things where kids are not, as you see on the left, are not staring at a screen or staring at a teacher talking or a whiteboard. It's athletics, it's performing arts, it's visual arts, it's a debate club, it's the science lab, it's the chemistry lab, it's shop, it's all of those activities, including recess and lunch, that you want the kids to be working together. You want supervision, you want adult supervision, maybe not so much as recess, as you get older, but even in the labs, you want adult supervision, coaches, all the rest of it. And the rest of the time, rather than sitting lined up, I know my least favorite times going to school, and I know my kids' least favorite time is sitting lined up, 30 kids in a classroom, all lined up and all having to be quiet and all having to learn at the pace of either the slowest learner or the average learner. And in any case, they're not moving at the pace that their passions and skill sets and preparation, they just don't match across all these other folks. So we've got to move from, I call it the common bore, to individual passion and pace with a remote learning experience. I think butts in the seat should be replaced by screen time, but standing up and engaging, as you see here on the left, ought to be something that is campus-based. And lockdowns have made remote learning very, very necessary. I mean, and very, very quickly. We started this project that I'm going to talk to you about here last year, and we launched it this summer, but that's about 6 months late. But we're trying to move off of passive learning into more lean forward and engaged learning. We call them active learning experiences. Now, next slide, one other concept about what we've done here is we've made what we're doing free and open. And I'm going to spend a lot of time coming back to this, but schools have no money, and it's got to be free. We also need to get the world to tip in this remote learning experience technology because of all the fragmentation and lack of interoperability, lack of federation. And that requires getting the market to tip in one direction. And you're going to see that you all know that this industry has, or this ed tech world hasn't tipped to one common platform. We also need mankind to be able to contribute, and that's what open source does. You need transparency for debugging and for privacy issues, and it drives higher quality products. So having done free and open source projects many, many times in my career in the technology industry as the CEO of Sun Microsystems, I believe this is the only way we're going to get the market to tip quickly and aggressively into something where everybody can contribute and participate and really offer some choice. Now, the fragmentation, next slide you'll see, is there's no way to put it on one slide. There are literally thousands of ed tech technologies out there trying to help you create an active learning experience for a remote learner, for a real-time learner, for an anytime learner, for an any place learner. And when we talked to the authors who wanted to create not e-textbooks or a shaky video or a PDF or a project list or something, we talked to them and they said, "What's your biggest problem?" They said, "We have to build a massive platform and use a whole bunch of different tools. We have to tilt it up, we have to put it on premise, or we have to put it in the cloud, we have to secure it, make it handle all the privacy issues." And each author has to create their own Frankenstein authoring tool and platform on which to deploy it. And these Frankenstein, I mean, look at all these names. What percentage do you think will still be in business, say, 2 years from now? And you built that into your Frankenstein. It's like all of a sudden, your arm is all of a sudden out of business, and you got to go find a new arm, replace it. And it's just an awful, awful environment, all in the face of falling budgets. And as we know, talk to any school system, and COVID and the lockdown is chewing up resources, and the tax bases are going down. So with all of that as kind of the background, we went to, next slide, to building a free open source authoring tool. We believe it's the genesis of a new age of a complete full service interactive learning experience authoring tool. And we called it CurrikiStudio. If you think about PowerPoint, it creates presentations. If you think about Adobe, they create PDFs. If you think about Java Studio, it created Java internet applications. So CurrikiStudio creates active learning experiences, new age active learning experiences. It's open, mankind can help and are helping. It's Switzerland. We are a .org. We are not charging for this. I come to you not asking for a purchase order, which is what I used to do in my entire life. I'm asking you to take it, steal it, use it, go with it. It's free, no strings attached. Full open source. It's on GitHub. It's available on our website. Log in and try it. And as I'll talk about, we'll be making it available in all of the major cloud suppliers out there. We're going to be Switzerland. We're not going to compete with anybody. We're not taking anybody's revenue. We're trying to create value, not capture it. This is a .org that creates value. It's not a .com that's trying to capture it. And we're trying to prioritize learning over teaching. And that's I think, as you see, when these things get developed, that people can go out and learn on their own time as opposed to having to wait to be taught. So the next slide, some comments about this. No programming required. All you need to do to bring to, it's like PowerPoint. You don't need to be a programmer to use PowerPoint. All you need to do is bring your media, audio, video, text, and images. And it can be the stuff you had in your classroom, or it can be new stuff that you create, or it could be stuff you find out on the internet. And then we have 50 plus activations to allow you to do multimedia, assessments, audio, interactive video. We've embedded GeoGebra so you can do all your math symbols and graphs. We have immersive readers for people who can't see. We have photo and image-based interactives. It's all mobile ready. For instance, Edpuzzle has 3 interactions. It's wonderful, it's good stuff, but we have 15. And by the way, ours is free if you really want to do interactive videos. We do branching scenarios, so if then, and allow you to really create targeted and responsive kinds of learning environments. And very soon you're going to see us bringing in science lab simulations from PhET and collaboration tools. The whole roadmap, I'll try and talk about a little bit later, but I wanted you to see quickly, I've got a 3-minute video coming up in a second that will show you how easy this is to use. It's a little sped up and just to get through it, but you will see that any 6th grader through the best instructional designers in the world and the biggest media studios in the world can all use this because it's no more difficult to use than PowerPoint. So I want to introduce Caroline Benoit, who is a curriculum designer and educator at Curriki, to show you a quick video on how this works.
Hello, my name is Caroline Benoit. I am an educator and an instructional designer. I am not a programmer, nor do I have experience coding. Yet, I have created over 50 engaging digital learning activities. I'm here to show you how anyone can use the free tools provided in CurrikiStudio to create a mobile, interactive learning experience. Let's log in and find the project where we want to build out our activities. Start by clicking the Add New Activity button and choose from our 50 engaging activity types like interactive video. This activity type allows you to easily add interactions to your video media content. Whether published on a website like YouTube or a personal MP4 file, you can revamp your video lessons effortlessly, adding interactions like CurrikiStudio's drag text feature. CurrikiStudio will provide a step-by-step guide with each interaction. I already have my ready-made worksheet with vocabulary terms and definitions. Watch that with no trouble, I can transform this static PDF just by utilizing copy and paste. Scrolling down, I'll see further customization options in the sections labeled Behavioral Settings and Adaptivity. This is the only tool out there that allows its content authors to freely adapt these gamified experiences to meet the needs of their audience. Now, let's take a look at a couple of other easy-to-create activities pulled from their static counterparts. But first, Let's preview the experience we just built in our drag text interaction. CurrikiStudio's advanced customization also provides opportunities to effectively administer individual feedback for my audience. This fill-in-the-blanks task provides an image media file. The provided image came directly from my static worksheet. Similar to building the drag text interaction, as a content author, I can use the tools like snippet or screenshot, along with copy and paste, to easily transform my ready-made worksheets. Content authors can easily add tips or hints throughout each interaction. Now, let's look at the example of CurrikiStudio's easy-to-create drag-and-drop interaction. Authors can effortlessly utilize snipping a static worksheet, then follow the provided step-by-step guide to create their draggable elements. Drag-and-drop questions support multiple draggable to drop zone combinations, like one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-one, and many-to-many. After you've created your digital learning experience, it's just one click to share, publish, and deliver this interactive learning experience to your audience. We hope you enjoy exploring the many possibilities of creating a digital learning experience in CurrikiStudio.
So there you have it. I sure wish we'd had this a year and a half ago. And you could imagine everybody working to get to remote learning experiences. And then when the lockdowns hit, this tool would have been incredibly valuable for everyone. But it's out there now. We launched it this summer, and we're facing exponential growth. I've learned that free has infinite demand, and we're seeing that right now. And I really encourage you all to look at it. The real magic here, though, is our ability to publish. So with Java, we had write once, run anywhere. Here we have create once, author once, and publish anywhere. So right now, you can one button push to your LMS, whether it's Canvas, Moodle, or Google Classroom. Schoology is coming soon. Or you can publish one button push to a microsite, website, to a mobile app, to any CMS platform, or a self-executable file. We're working with a whole bunch of corporations to get them to websites or to their CMSs. So it's not just K-12 or higher ed. This goes to anybody who wants to teach and run classes and put it into their content management or learning management systems. So I'd like to talk a little bit about who's using this and how they're using this. So on the next slide, you'll see quite a few organizations that have already adopted this thing in a very short order. The Teach for America, we're going to be providing access for all of the current teachers and alumni around a learner-centered asset library, and that's rolling out here in the next few weeks. So that's going to be huge set of users that across the country, many large school districts. Alachua County Schools, for instance, is converting and creating their secondary math curriculum using CurrikiStudio. Interesting corporate usage is because we have virtual tour and branching and a whole bunch of zero-party data collection capabilities. Rex is a real estate company that sells online and is basically automating everything. You'll be able to look at a house, tour a house, answer questions, branch through the house, creating a very interesting, I mean, a house is no different than a museum or a park or any other environment. We have all of the tools to help you really automate that and do that very quickly. Victory Lap is transforming a leading sales boot camp from classroom to a digital self-paced modular experience. Everybody has that kind of training. And I mentioned museums. The U.S. Capitol Historical Society is digitizing their in-person experiences into interactive learning at scale. And there's just literally dozens and dozens of organizations, and large and small, that are very interested in this free product. I'd like to talk a little bit next slide about what's coming from some major partnership perspectives and what we're trying to offer everybody. Very soon you'll see AWS. We've gone through their correct practices. I didn't get the right word there. Correctly architected process, and we'll be launching the studio, CurrikiStudio, on AWS for any organization out there. We're also talking to all of the other major cloud suppliers, and you'll see this on Azure and Google Cloud and others. It's already on Linode and coming on AWS soon. But we want to make this ubiquitous across the world, and we're getting very nice donations from the cloud providers to make this free or near free for folks who need those cloud services. Certainly in the K-12 space, we were seeing Linode and Amazon being very, very generous in providing credits to us to allow you to offer this for free. So please come use those credits while they're still available. And we'll also be announcing with Red Hat that we're part of their Open Innovation Lab, and we're matching in both contributing teams. Red Hat is maybe the leader in knowing how to provide and distribute and support open source technology out there. And then finally, we'll be creating we're going as fast as we can, but we want to get some certification programs out there so everybody can feel comfortable and safe that they're using the Curriki implementation that is interoperable, consistent, common user interface, federated, all the rest of it. So we will be launching a CurrikiStudio training module that will, upon completion, allow you to identify certified authors, CurrikiStudio certified authors. We'll also be working to make sure that all of the hosting providers are providing a certified implementation of Curriki Ready Studio. And then we'll be getting certified service partners out there also. I want to throw, next slide, throw a big thank you to our sponsor, ASU. I talked to Dr. Crow yesterday. We are doing so much and so many great things with these guys. They're adopting CurrikiStudio throughout, and they're actually having students use CurrikiStudio as part of the class, and the students are creating their own CurrikiStudio active learning experience to prove that they've mastered the content by creating an actual learning experience that teaches what they learn. That's is unbelievably cool. So it's pretty cool. We're going to be setting up and co-hosting a summit on learning standards and learning object protocols and active learning experience authoring, and CurrikiStudio will be right in the middle of that. They're going to help us develop these certification programs, and we are currently supporting the ASU Preparatory Academy and the ASU Learning Experience. So anyhow, that's what we have. We have the product. Go to our website, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But now I want to talk a little bit on the next slide about some of my buddies call it my hallucination or my fantasy. I don't understand why learning experiences aren't as bingeable as Game of Thrones and other. We spend billions creating Game of Thrones and even Lion King. I actually watched it. Don't judge me, but it was right during the lockdown, and I thought I was going to die. But I'll never get those hours back. But then we have bingeable content like Fortnite and Minecraft, and these are all using up millions of human hours on stuff that's just bingeable and dopamine addictive. And we're spending billions. Why aren't we doing that with content? Why aren't we creating? Why doesn't Elon Musk donate money so that we can create games of calculus sponsored by Tesla, funded by Elon Musk, and it's a 15-part miniseries with media produced out of Time Warner? And why don't we have like really great spokesmodels, Saul Kahn, Shrek, I don't care, anybody that the kids will listen to? Why don't we have Mark Benioff do games of sales and marketing, 15-part miniseries, free, open, epic? You know, Cecil B. DeMille caliber. Larry Ellison can do games of Java. Dow Chemical can do games of chemistry. Games of Java, games. It would all be just hugely wonderful and very, very powerful if we got the world from kids in class creating libraries as ASU is doing and putting and making available to everybody, all the way through to the biggest studios using CurrikiStudio, creating the best curriculum ever. So another fantasy of mine, next slide, is the usage and sharing pledge. And I'm going to be driving this. We all know about the Gates Buffett donor pledge. I want this one to be for people who donate to edtech.orgs only. If you donate, I'm going to be asking a lot of donors to please sign this pledge. If you donate to a .org, all of you should request that all of their content be created in Studio as a usage pledge. They can create it in other architectures, other proprietary architectures, but make it open and available. And second of all, all IP content, source code, APIs, open source. This is so powerful. This will allow the investment that donors are making to have a velocity of infinity as opposed to a velocity of one. So many .org, edtech.orgs take their donor money and create proprietary stuff that requires everybody to go to their website. We're trying to unleash value, create value and unleash it. And I think we need the donors to say, if I donate to you, for instance, Sal Khan, if you get donations, you got them from a donor who has signed the usage and sharing pledge, you must make your content work on Studio and CurrikiStudio, and you must open source all your content, source code, all the rest of it. I mean, it's a .org. They aren't trying to make money. So anyhow, a call to action here in the last few minutes that I have is for all of you to go to the website and just look at it, try it out, use it. I think you'll use it in a real live classroom. I think everybody will get excited about it and they'll just run with it. We have little tutorials on how to use it, so there's very little training required. Evangelize it, tell everybody about this. We don't have a big marketing budget. We're not spending money on a marketing budget. And contribute by getting certified, contribute by donating code, contribute by giving us feedback. There's a feedback button on site and you can do that at all times. And then there's always help us find rich people to donate, because this is important for everybody. It's a family deal for me. I'm doing this for free. I'm spending millions of dollars of my own on this. My son Colt is writing code on the weekends and evenings for us as a Stanford CS programmer, and he loves it while he's got a real-time job. And I'm going to be leaving right now to go to the golf course to see my son, who's a PGA Tour player. You can see his bag there with Curriki on it. And he has Birdies for Education. If you want to donate and have fun, go to Birdies for Education. Every time he gets a birdie, you can donate. He's our largest donor today with all the money he collects. And in fact, he won $50,000 for us last week by having the most birdies on tour. Anyhow, go Mav. Everybody check out Curriki. And thank you to all the first responders out there who are dealing with this lockdown. We really appreciate it. All of you educators. Thank you so much.